not up there somewhere. And now I'm gonna tell you a story because I'm not so fit. As you can see, I'm getting older and I'm not particularly like high, performance at this moment in time. And and as I get older, it's getting worse, of course. And I ate I ate a little bit of food. I had chicken and so forth, and then he came with the equipment. Okay, the full story. We started talking about surfing, and he said, "Well, if you want, I'll give you lessons for this type of surfing with the kite." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." And so he brought the wetsuit, he brought the shoes, everything, and I gave him some money, and we went out and tried it, and I was falling off all the time. I was literally falling off all the time. It's very, 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 very hard because you get up on the board on your knees, and then you slowly have to get up on the board. Hi Mina, you have to kind of like balance yourself on the board, and and then and at the same time you kind of raise the kite, and then you start to move with the kite. So we did that for a half an hour to an hour until I started to get really exhausted, just trying to get up and balancing yourself. And it was the second time in my life that I had a wetsuit on. I don't know if it's called neoprene in English as well. Well, it was neoprene. So, and so I got up. Tried a couple of times. He helped a lot. Like he helped a lot to try help me that it would work. Okay, so he's a really interesting teacher, but he's a good teacher. But there's something else that happened. So we were pretty far out because we were trying all the time, and then we started to drift out more and more and more. And he was like, "Okay, now you can return to the beach, and I'll take the board back." And I'm like, I need the board to hold myself onto." And he was like, "No, I'll bring the board back. You go swimming." And I start to swim because I know I've been exhausted from the trying to surf. So after being exhausted, he's telling me to swim back to the beach. And he takes the board and he goes off into another direction with the wind. And I'm completely on my own with a neoprene swimming for the first time in my life. And at about 3/5 of the distance, I realize I get some pressure on my chest, and I'm starting to get exhausted. I have no energy left anymore, and I screamed back to Pablo, and I was like, "Hey, Pablo, come here!" And I realized he doesn't hear me, doesn't listen to me. So I recognize immediately from the first screaming already, it's absolutely futile. He's not going to see me because he's completely going in the other direction. That I'll just have to manage it somehow. So I keep on swimming. I sometimes swim on my back, doing like a frog type style with my legs, and kind of like butterfly with my hands on my back. And because I know I have the most speed doing that, I tried that in swimming pools. I know I have the highest speed with almost like the least need for energy. Because when I do, I don't know how to like kraulen, which is like going forward with like side to side with one hand. I don't know how to do that, which is the fastest. I just know how to do like chest swimming, or I don't know what you call it, and that's pretty slow. So, and he didn't even ask me how good I am in swimming, or or how far I can swim, nothing like that. So he just assumed that I swim like he does, I guess. So about 3/5, I'm like, I cannot go anymore. And I go on my back. I try to calm down. Something that helped me a lot to calm down was the fact that I got lost once in Portugal, where well, I thought I'm not gonna find a road anymore, and it was really hot. It was like 40 degrees Celsius, and um and I only had half a bottle of water, and my phone died, and eventually also the from the bike the battery also would have died, and then I would have been completely fucked in the heat. And I realized, so I started hyperventilating, or I had very not hyperventilating, but very high heart rate. And I realized that the first thing that I must do is completely calm down. And in the water, it was pretty much the same. But when you are on the landmass, even though it's hot, you can kind of just like sit down and be calm. On water, you don't have the option. That's why so many people drown. I mean, literally tons of people drown every year. And I have huge respect for that. And the funny thing is, I was already fearful of that going into the water. And I think the mistake here that he took the board away from a beginner right in the middle of the ocean. And I was very lucky that the tide, or that it wasn't in a way that the water, I don't know what you call it in English, that the water was pulling me further out, because then I would be dead 100%. I was lucky that it still was a little bit against the water, but very little. It wasn't that much. So so I was on my back, and I said, okay, let's calm down a little bit, at least to the extent that my body doesn't, completely fuck up. And then I said, okay, let's do this slowly. Let's just go slowly. But I was already at a maximum. I was like, I had no energy. And when I was out, I I realized that it was a dangerous situation. Absolutely, just a tiny bit different. Just a further, for example, a further 100 meters out, or a little bit, more push, like current in the opposite direction, and I would have been dead. And I it's interesting, like when you're in a very, very dangerous situation, it's the normal thinking, what you've learned. That's why it's so important for rescue personnel and all of these people, or people in general, to learn a routine as to what to do when this happens. For example, I remember I saw a video which said when the current takes you out, you don't swim against the current trying to reach the beach, but you swim like parallel and diagonal. That's how you get back. But if you don't have any energy, any power anymore, how are you going to swim at all? So that was interesting. And I think I have to learn more about this and read more about this, but also have higher energy and learn what to do. And the neoprene, you cannot. I mean, you don't even want to in a cold water. But you cannot undress it in the ocean. It's you can't even undress it like on land. It's very, very hard to undress. Because otherwise you could undress it and make you put like I've seen this on one video. You put like uh you close the legs with a knot, and then you push it down so you have air under it, and then you have basically you can rescue yourself. And hi, German Sosa. And I learned this, but if you cannot undress the neoprene, I mean, if it was a two-piece neoprene, you could probably do it, but not a one-piece. You would have practice undressing it while swimming in a swimming pool or something. And then I thought, okay, I'm probably gonna buy a neoprene, uh, and I can practice it basically. I think I'll buy one in France or something, and then I'll practice it in a swimming pool. Why not? Um, because I think that's really like this type of knowledge, like how to undress a neoprene, or while you're swimming in the ocean, or whatever you want to do, it should be practiced, and that's, I think, very smart. Just and plus have, of course, the cardio that makes you be able to swim 1,000 meters and not just a couple hundred. Um, I was surprised how bad my cardio is, like how bad my fitness level is. It's really, really bad. Although I do my yoga and my little bit of like bodybuilding, like tiny, but I should really like stick to it now. Because you can go surfing. Because Pablo offered me to that he would teach me also regular surfing, which I would love to. It was actually my idea, and he said I've done it for 7 years, so I could offer it to you. I was like, yeah, let's do it. But I'm definitely not gonna let him take my board away anymore. He wants to give me a paddle board to try to learn surfing instead of having a foam board. I think I wanna see um I want to Google or see it on YouTube how people use a paddle board to learn to surf if that's even a viable option. Um, but I guess it is. Why not? Um, but I think my friend, a good friend of mine, says it was actually kind of he was actually neglecting me and it was very dangerous situation. So he thinks I shouldn't take another class with Pablo, although I paid him already for the second class. But I think he's kind of right because Pablo didn't know my strength of swimming. He should have asked or something. And and he just assumed, and it was my second time having the neoprene on like um uh piece, so I didn't know how to swim, how swimming is in that. So I think I'll get one just for having one for myself, the neoprene, and and I don't have really space for a surfboard, I guess, but it's possible I could put one in the back, but then as a beginner, you're probably going to experience a lot of different surfboards and you want to try them out. So it doesn't make sense to immediately right from the start buy a board. It's a little bit like when you have golf clubs. When you start out, you get very simple golf clubs, and as you get better, you get pro golf clubs, and they change. And I guess here there are so many different surfboards and so many different like forms of surfboards. I don't think it makes sense to buy one right from the start. Would make sense to borrow some and try different ones until you find out which one fits you, which one you like. Because even if you're good, you're probably going to rent different boards just to try them out. And yeah, yeah, I was lucky today, and I'm so done. I'm just gonna make basmati rice right now because I think I'm way under calories. And I do have some trouble with sleeping, and I'm not sure if it's connected to the mobile phone. Maybe I'm too much on the smartphone. Maybe melatonin is not produced enough or something. I feel like I want to change some things in life to get myself better sleep, better fitness, all of this stuff. Although I have to say I would prefer not doing anything and just enjoying beingness. uh, but I think I have a feeling that the body is going downhill very fast if I don't do something. And I notice right now how my body's creating a lot of heat, which I'm not used to because I usually don't move around that much. But I think this type of water sport, I think this type of water sport is really good fitness. I think so. I think surfing and any sport like that is really good fitness because unless you have other people around you, the likelihood of you hurting yourself is extremely low with small waves, or you know there's very very little likelihood of hurting yourself. It's like swimming. You're not going to hurt yourself when you're swimming. So I think it's a good sport when you get older as well. Nothing bad about it. definitely.